Something just popped up. Hey, love bugs. This is Roslynn back at you one more again. I hope everybody is doing blessed. I'm doing blessed and highly favored, and definitely hope the same for you. And I'm hoping that you're doing the same. And if you this your first time to my channel, much love to you and welcome into all my returning subs, my extended beautiful spiritual friends. Thank you, much love and welcome. Y'all, I haven't did my videos in a long time, so I forgot my outro. It's been like almost 2 years since I did a video. And I've told y'all if I do any videos, it's going to be about something I really want to talk about. Things are still the same, still bad. I just haven't really been wanting to talk about it. Because it's just like I'm going through my own spiritual path, and you're seeing on the intro. I mean, not the intro, but the title. Everything's hitting different. Just really going through different stuff. Uh, it's not been good for me. I've lost a lot of weight. I haven't been eating no money or anything like that. So it's just been on my spiritual path of just surviving. Um, and just going through a lot of stuff that I never thought I would have to go through. You would, in your mind, you could really think like, it can't get any worse. And it's just like, yeah, it gets worse. You're trying to move forward. Uh, and allow yourself to be able to look at everything. Well, I'm not saying everybody is like that, but when you get to a certain stage in your life of healing, um, and let me set up here. I'm trying to be copyrighted. You hear Dawn of the Dead in the background. Um, but just going through a lot of healing, being able to understand why you have to go through what you go through, um, and trying to understand, the facts of life, how things unfold. Uh, when you're going through a spiritual awakening, becoming, knowing your inner self on different stages through trauma, and not realizing that, because a lot of times we have to be grateful. And I know it's like hard to hear that. And, sometimes it shocks me when I say it. I'm grateful for my hardship, because if I never really went through these different things in my life, I would not have learned who I was. My spiritual gifts, being an anchor and things, being a Heyoka twin flame with my dad. It was just all the different things. You never knew like Lord, life would be so dangerous. Because it's like you have been chosen for different things. You're already walking danger. You're doomed from the womb. If you for a while you have heard me say you have been doomed from the womb. You have gone through so many different tragedies. You probably were the black sheep of the family. You were that one who say it how it was, and a lot of people just didn't like that because you open your mouth and you spoke your truth, and a lot of people, some people always worry about things that how people look at you or judge, and I used to be that way. I'm not even going to sit up here and try to sugarcoat like, oh, I wasn't one of those type of people. No, I used to be a people pleaser. I tell people all the time, it's like when you go through things, we all have gone through different stuff that we are not proud of. You've done things where it's probably been done to you to where you even look at life different. I at the point where all my whole family has turned it back on me, including my children. Now they're on that vibe of wanting to have me taken out with the rest of my family. Try to keep truth under wraps. But it's just like you try to understand like why am I going through these different things? Why am I surviving all these different spiritual, warfares, these psychic attacks, going through all these different things, your body's changing, you're probably breaking out in rashes and freaking with headaches, your sleep is uh, all discombobulated. You have foggy mind. You're going through these different things where you're starting to download a lot of different things. We may even see your future, different things like I've never seen myself doing this. There'll be certain things that will be guiding you towards, that path of being able to just going through an empathic upgrade, I guess you want to call it. And it's just like I've been going through these different things of really having to understand, why I have to go through things, or being at that vibe where I'm just not giving a fuck. I'm just not caring about, saving anybody. Being in that point where I had to learn that, the more I allowed myself to lash out and felt like I have to defend myself, I'm at that point where I know a lot of things come back to me about the evil things that my family is being paid to say about me. It's bad. Like, it couldn't be me. I said nobody's about to pay me to sit up here and downgrade somebody or defame somebody's character all because of based off somebody's envy and insecure, making sure somebody didn't have any support in their life. Want to get away with different things that get that you can go to jail for. But I learned in my life path, I had to be able to tell different things of how I went through things in my life. Who my father was. Going through these different things. It hasn't been easy. Um, where especially it's like even when his anniversary just passed on last month, and having to go through that, and with him being who he is, it gets becomes hard, especially if you're empath, because you pick up on other people's emotions, and with him being who he is, I was picking up on a lot of people, still impacted by his death, even though he's been gone for 10 years. So, um, just being able to move through those different things of, having your ancestors help you, you're trying to understand, you're leveling up. And it'll be just like those different things where, if you watch tarot or something like that, you're hearing the word level up a lot. And it was just like, how am I leveling up? And I'm, going through all this different drama. But we have to understand when we go on that next path, new levels, different devils. So if you have been that one, that black sheep, that Heyoka, that one who's been going through different things, and if you're a Heyoka, we do things as backwards. We don't do things simple ways. We do everything hard. And we already know it takes us a lot. Sometimes it takes a long time for us to learn lessons, a long time for us to get it. Sometimes it'll make you feel stupid, and it's like, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, especially if you're that person who have went through some line of, abuse. I'm trying to be very specific, very particular about my words, strategic about what words are used on. I'm about to say another app, on YouTube. So you don't want to really do that. But just being able to go through all these levels, and just this new moon, it's just been really intense. So you may have different people projecting on you. I've been having that a lot lately, and it's just like I'm in that vibe where I'm not gonna allow nobody to disturb my peace. If you're in that misery, like misery wants to come, I'm not RSVP in that shit. I'm just not going to do that. I'm staying in my peace, and I haven't been really been doing videos because I felt like if if I'm going to be on my platform, I want to be able to gravitate towards different things. I don't want to keep talking about the same thing over and over again. That's becoming repetitive for me. And plus, I know my enemies watch my videos, so they're always wanting to be able, let me see where her head's at because I'm not talking. It's like all the different things that goes on around me because people want to see me irritated or they want to get up under my skin or want to see me react. It'd be the most dumbest things that I can ever see. Like, really, I'm supposed to be mad at this, and they'll make you feel like, you know, um, why do these people keep doing things? And it's just like you have to understand when you have people that are trying to go out your way to stop you from growing or not wanting you to know you who you are. You don't know how important you are towards your part of life because a lot of times we can go through different things where we feel like we don't matter, or people want to feel like invite you to different things, or including you on different things. They want you to feel like you're being excluded. But it'll be those different things where you're high value, and if you're around people that don't feel themselves as high value too, even when you may not even be trying, it's something natural for you. This is something natural for you. As soon as I said that, the color on my phone just came up. I don't know if you noticed that, but you come high, very high rank, and you may not feel that like I'm high rank, I'm going through this, like me, no food, no money, everybody, mom don't turn it back on you, nobody ain't really checking on you that much, you have certain people checking on you. I'm not saying nobody don't check on me, but there's different people who do, and when you do, I do appreciate it. um but you feel like you're in a world of your own, like the world is against you because it's like you're going through something, And it's like you're going through this change where I know you probably felt a shift, like something felt different, something hitting different. Like I said earlier, something hitting different where it's like, what is it about me? Like I'm learning more about myself, and you don't realize, and I had to tell myself this too, without me coming unhinged on certain things that I have to go through. You don't realize your enemies are really helping you on different things, and they're really helping you on different things that are taking place in your life, and you're learning more about yourself. Uh, through the different trauma that people are putting on you. And they don't realize that people are like, oh my God, I don't want them knowing who they are. If they find out who they are, they don't know how powerful they are. That's the reason why people have to get up in groups just to come attack you. You're always wondering why I'm just one person. Why does there have to be a group of people that have to go against me? Why does it have to be, one person is envious of you and they have to get a gang of people to do the same thing too? That lets you know how powerful you are. If you weren't having a purpose that's going to serve to be a pivotal in many people's lives, you don't realize the things that you're going through may help somebody. Like you don't want, some people want to be able to share the things they go through because they want to be victimized. Like, oh, this. And a lot of times I didn't even know when I was making my videos, I was victimizing myself. And I call myself on that long now. And there's no problem with that because there's a lot of times you could be going through something, it could be very traumatizing. And it'll be just like, oh, not saying, not giving, validating that you were not attacked, in some kind of way, whether it could be physical, actual, spiritual, emotional, financial, it could have been something that had to trigger some kind of attention in your life, like, hey, there's some kind of wake up call I need you to pay attention to. There's things that's going on behind your back. There may be certain people you need to get out your life. There may be certain people that you have all of a sudden you've been real cool with, but there's just certain your energies are starting to clash and you start backing up. You don't want to talk to this person like you used to. You don't want to hang out with these certain people like you used to. Your energies, your interests, they're not the same. Their views are not the same. That's the reason why your love link up. And just like when they tell you love, that means you're gonna deal with some new ish. Okay, you're gonna deal with different strife. You're gonna have to deal with more people. See, that was spiritual hiccup. Um, you're gonna deal with more games that people want to play with you, more mind, manipulation, gaslighting, trauma bonding, codependency issues. You're gonna start seeing it more and more. More people deflecting, but there's also a lot of people that are coming more out with themselves, being comfortable, not giving a damn about the next person on who feels that way, where you're allowing yourself to say, I'm not playing small to myself, no damn more. I'm not staying quiet. I'm not watering myself down for nobody. I'm not going to play backseat to my life to make other people feel good. Like, no. Or, you have different people trying to throw that karma off on you. You probably cleared your karma like, oh, hell no. As bad enough it is, you were already chosen for your ancestors. You dealing with your ancestors' burdens, whatever the hell they asses didn't deal with. You're dealing with that. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. I was like, how many days old when I found out, like, hold up, why is my life so hard? You ain't just dealing with your karma, you dealing with your family's karma too. They picked you. Oh, this is gonna be that right one. This is gonna be that deal breaker. When you're that deal breaker, that curse breaker, that generational curse breaker, that that Heyoka, the black sheep of the family, the one that they always want to count out and all that stuff. Like, oh, don't take them seriously. They're into their head, or now they're doing this, far out new age thing, because you're woke. Now you're starting to see the bullshit. You starting to see, oh, you're projecting again, or oh, you're wanting to trigger me, or oh, you want me to get up under my skin, or oh, you want me to second guess myself. People want to downplay your dreams, all those different things. Or now there's a lot of things that's telling you to be quiet, moving a lot of silence. Not letting people know, what you're going through. Or, oh, a lot of people probably, with my family, I have a lot of spell work done on me on a daily basis. Okay, and there's a lot of different things that goes on that I just don't even talk about. And walk around, probably trying to see if, oh, let me see if it's working. Let me go visit her and see, let me see if, different things that I placed on her, let me see if it's working. And, because a lot of people are in fear for what they've done to you. They don't want, the different things they've done to you to come out. So they're doing all they possibly can. They're working hard They're working extra hard. Now you know you may be going hard for yourself. Like I'm going hard for myself. I played silent too long. I feel like I don't wasted so much time in my life. And it's like if you know, don't ever allow yourself to bullying guilt. Like if you know you've been working on yourself to heal, even healing is not easy because now you're starting to deal with unfamiliar feelings. You're starting to deal with different past issues you have that are coming back. It's like a past vomit. I always call those, like when you have that burp and it really tastes nasty. That and it's just like past things that you're dealing with that you're really trying to. It's like you're trying to go through a like me. I see it as a catalog. I have to learn from this. Don't allow myself. And there'll be different things that really cut deep with me. That make me look at people different. Make me very questionable, or very selective about who the hell I call family, who the hell I call friends, and I don't got that many, you know. But I appreciate the ones that I do have. So going through these different things, I had to go through different stages of life. If you haven't fully healed from the different things that you hold on to, you start meeting different people. They got those same issues. I meet a lot of people that went through the same things that I have, that I still keep in connections with, and they really like Roz. This is the reason why we clicked because y'all watch my videos like Roz, and I totally understand. I thought I was the only one who thought this way. It make you feel like the world is against you. Nobody, you're trying to express yourself and people think you're crazy. And you're not being crazy, you're just very woke. Ignorance is bliss. People like being stupid to reality at times. You know, not wanting to see further than what their own understanding is like sometimes you got to be able to think outside the box. And when you are that person that has been chosen, you have to understand our lives is never going to be easy. You're going to always have enemies. Okay, you are that human. You're that powerful mirror. Not no. And a lot of times we don't even notice that we will mirror something. Like I'm that type of person. I had to learn to use discernment. Like sometimes everything don't need my reaction to it. And there's a lot of times that comes to me, and I have to be grateful for that. I have to deal with a lot of people around me that go out their way to say something, and I'm just like, how you wanting me to feel about that? Are you, 'cause it's like when you are that person, especially when you talk to somebody who got not strong narcissistic traits, or you're dealing with people that are heavy in their uh, narcissistic personality. They want to say things to hit up under the belt. And I learned this. And I heard this today. It's like when I see somebody give that person some kind words like, "Oh, boo, I love them shoes," or "Hey, queen, what you doing? Looking like you giving all that, projecting all that empress, vibrations or whatever." You never know what that person went through. Maybe they had to deal with somebody, at home saying that they're nothing. They're never gonna be nothing. They're gonna see, they're gonna see your issues. And I hate it when people say that they're gonna see your scars and they're not gonna like you. And that's control. That's a control tactic that people like to put on people. They're going to see your scars. Going to see your scars. Everybody has a scar, and there's sometimes people to show that scar. Like, yeah, I was wounded at that one time, but let me tell you how I healed that. Don't ever allow somebody to, you know, to trap you or imprison you by different things that you may not have been proud of. Some people want to be able to control you. That, oh, remember when you did this and this? No, in good well, you don't want that out. Or they knew those different things, but you have people that use certain history of shameful experiences to hold you, hostage or try to control you. People do control tactics. So now this is that year where you're starting to find yourself more and more, but you don't realize through the trauma that you're going through, hey, you know, this is teaching you some different things. This is getting you to learn more about yourself through those things. So you may be going through some stuff with some hateful ass people, very low vibrational, but it's going to be getting to a point where you're going to appreciate what those people taught you because it showed you so much of what you did not want to be. You don't want to be certain ages to be like, when I look at my situation and I see people that are older than me, and I'm like, y'all are too damn old to be doing the stuff that y'all are doing. And I want to, when I hit your age, I want to be on somebody beach drinking a mimosa, minding my own black folks' business, and loving life on the last little baby days, whatever God, living in your last day. And I want to be able to live my day like it's my last day on every day and live it up, you know and you're going through those different things. So it's just like I'm in that vibe. Like I'm just not. I'm not saving nobody. Whatever your karma is what your karma is. When I've gone through my down and out, my pain, when people were stabbing me all up in my back, through ultimate betrayal, people that I love deeply that I never thought would betray me, saying things about me I never thought would come out their mouth about me when they know good well hell it ain't true. You know, you go through those different things, and it just allows you to say, appreciate. I never want to be like that, you know. Or it can be the people that I love dearly that I sacrificed so much for, and was, could do that. And then it's just like I'm not gonna allow myself to want to regret or hold resentment for the people I loved at one time. And I had to be able to, for me to be able to go through it, especially when it came to my children, I had to grieve. I never thought you had to grieve like they're no longer living just for me to be able to get through the trife that they did. You're trying to make sure you erase me. I brought life to you when you're trying to take me out the world. Oh no. The only way I can be able to do this, I had to psych my mind out. They're no longer living. This is the only way I can get through. A parent that loves their children deeply, that has that page turner of a backstab, of an ultimate betrayal that you can do to a parent. It's not something that is easy to be able to get through, but somehow I got through it. It would be different things when my family knew my fears. Worst fear I would have, I would hate to lose my children, or in a sudden death. That's what any parent, or have my children hate me. And my family made sure any fears that I had, they'd be like, oh, what's your worst fear? And they made sure they put a plot twist on it, and I overcame those. When I found out I was putting two and two together, I said they made sure I lived out my wildest fears, not knowing who my parent was, going through, my worst fears, because I'm adopted, and know that I knew my parent this whole time and I never had a chance to meet them when they passed away. Talked to my dad on and off, and I knew he was my dad. He had to play like he was my uncle for him to be able to have connections with me. Never had a private conversation. It was always somebody listening to be able to control what we spoke about on the phone. And just to be able to know I talked to my dad so many times, and not knowing my dad is who he is and very famous. That was a traumatizing thing. I still go through it. When I first went through it, I went through constant nervous breakdowns. Wanting to know my family, and then come to find out your family's a part of the whole thing of wanting you offed. You're like, you were second generation of success. We got to end that before that even happens. We can't do that. You know, and for me to be able to have to talk about that and not have any kind of emotions about it, it took a long time to be able to do. And that'll allow you to know when you can say something and not have any kind of emotions to it or have any kind of animosity or anger. That lets you know you're becoming at peace, because a lot of times we don't realize we want something right now just because of the shit we're going through. You know, you be going through different things and you try to understand, how am I going to be able to get through this? How am I supposed to understand that you allowed somebody to betray me the way they did? Trying to understand where would this come from? What did you do to deserve this? And a lot of times you didn't do nothing. This ain't had nothing to do with you. Just like with my situation, my family want me off. You know, my biological family want me off. And like these people don't even know me. My dad left you everything, left legal papers of everything. Like, oh, he didn't have a will, he had four. He didn't have any children, he had six. It was a lot of different things. It came out. Even though it's just like when people like, oh, I was trying to understand how I was my dad spoke on his children many times, and people, you had to be listening to his music. If you were hearing it, there's a lot of times you can be hearing something and not really listening to the words they're saying. Because my dad was like, he done spoke of wills, he done spoke of children, different things that he wanted to put out there for his children to know, hey, I didn't neglect you, I know about you, I want to meet you, you know, and just to be able to know that, so it's just like being able to have to go through those different things and not have my dad, but it would just be, the songs he would sing, send my way, like, hey, these are for you, and I can be able to listen to that, and just to be able to have those things, just to be able to cherish, and and just be able to think about the conversations we used to have. Probably sometime about, this is just like his anniversary just passed last month or month before last, and it was a real emotional time for me, and it was just like, don't think about those different things. It's gonna be okay. Just listen to the songs I made for you, and think about the times we shared, even when you didn't know who I was to you. And that was just the most heartbreaking thing, to be able to have to live through that. But just when, make me think about all the different videos that I put out, speaking on these things and how it done helped so many people. It allowed me to know this is what my purpose was. You had to be able to go through this. There's something that you're going through that many people go through, and they're like, everybody don't turn it back on them. I can go to the police. I mean, I have terroristic threats being placed on me, and they won't do anything. Even when you show it on video and they don't do anything, that allows you to know, oh, they're a part of that too. You know, um, and I told people, it'd be always you're the problem. I said if I call the cops and it's always me calling the cops on you, maybe I'm not the problem. And just have to be able to say that. But I had to go through a lot of different things in my life, and you're just like, wow, how were you able to get through this? Could be different times you may be going through something. You're like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. Like, be an F bomb just done dropped on you, trying to understand how the hell, how am I gonna get over this? Like, how am I gonna be able to deal with this? And then you're like, and in some kind of way. It's like they always say, it's a process. You have to be able to go through it. But if you're going through these different things, know this is normal. This is the process of growth, I guess. And but it's just like I said, I haven't made videos in almost 2 years. I mean, I made two. I think it was like about mm, sometime in the middle of last year that I did, but I haven't made any videos. And people are like, wow, so what happened? Are you living? Yes, I'm still living. I'm just going through my stuff. And I just said, I'm not trying to pour this out on here. And it's like a lot of people that watch me don't want good for me. And they're waiting for me to say something so they can, because they don't know what to hit on. When you're not talking about, oh, this is what I'm struggling with, I'm not about to do that. There's too many people that they're trying to find any kind of way to, you know, if they can't take me out, they're trying to find any kind of way to delay me. Keep me distracted, keep me stressed out, and I'm just in that vibe where if I know I can't uh, control it, or if there's anything I can do to change it to make it feel better, I'm just gonna allow it to. When it's out of my hands, it got to be out of my head. Yeah, I had to be able to do that, and sometimes it's hard to be able to do that. But that's where you train in your mind, where you may have been. God didn't even go hermit mode, or you've been ready to do that. Like, you ain't even trying to be around people. If you working, like, look, I'm just trying to do my job, go home, eat, and be amongst myself, because I'm not trying to deal with all that. I'm not trying to deal with people right now. I'm not trying to be, it's peoply, too peoply. Or if you probably sitting up here getting your food ordered to your house, so just so you ain't gotta go to the grocery store and bump into anybody. You ain't been wanting to do that. Because it's just like now, it's like right now you going through all these changes, whereas wanting you to focus on you. And then if you have to be around people that are very toxic, it's going to be, you have to deal with different people that are just dead set on not changing. And it's like where you are, and you got to be able to put that mind of understanding. You got to think about how hard it is for you. Especially if you're going through dark night of soul, you think about a narcissist, a person that does not want to heal, and they going through dark night of soul, and they daggone disturbed. They're a little touched. You like, they need to be put up in a hospital somewhere. Baby, the strength of prayer alone. I have to go through on a daily basis. Even I be going off on God. Like, I know the hell you would not have me dealing with this. I'm like, oh, I'm not about to deal with this. I say I have the energy too goddamn good to be dealing with some stupid stuff like that. And you on that vibe. I'm just not gonna deal with it. And that's where I'm at, and when you get to that point in life, like if you're still healing, you take time for yourself every day. Even when you are not out of what you're out of, be proud that you are not the person that started this, and you're not. Even when you are not where you want to be at, people want to be dream killers. They want to make you feel like, want to put in that energy, throw that energy to you. Nothing's possible for you. Nothing's never going to change for you. Your life going to be permanent like this. Where you are at right now is not your permanent station. Whatever you're going through is not permanent. This is temporary. These are different things you're going through at stage of birth. Okay, when you go through the stages of birth, that mess hit different. Okay, And I mean, you going to have people going off at you, trying just doing anything they can to get your attention. Like, hey, I need you to be focused on. I need you to be focused on everything but what you're trying to bring into your life, your blessings you're trying to manifest into your life, the different changes you're trying to get into your life to make a better mode for you. You're going through these different levels where people don't do all kind of stuff with you, and you don't even really know how much how many daggone obstacles you have hurt, you have overcome and hurdled. There's a lot of them that were intended for you that was bypassed. Like, that ain't for me. Different things going on because you are showing different people, no matter what I go through, I'm not allowing you to tell me I'm not gonna live my life the way I want to. This is my life. Everybody's an individual. There's a lot of people that's going around with these entitlement issues, going through entitlement effect. No, oh, I need to be in that person's life. They looking like they about to level up. They looking like they about to come into something. Life about to be great for them. But then you had to go through this process of really dark moments. Of dark moments. Like, if God is about to bring something good into your life, we need to show you the people that are really there for you. We need to really show you how people truly feel for you when things get hard, or when you could have been that one. I was always that person to give, always fixing things that I didn't break. I'm like, I'm not that at that moment. It's like, if this is not a relationship or a connection or energy or something that I want to focus on, I be damn. I'm not gonna fix that mess. I'm not gonna sit there and fight for something I'm not wanting in a relationship or a situation. I'm just not gonna do it. If it's not meant for me, it's not bringing growth to me, I'm not gonna invest in that. And that's how I'm feeling. And people are taking that personal. Like, I mean, it's personal to me, but it's more spiritual than anything, because it's like people have been living my life for a long time where I had to pay background. People are living good off of my daggone trust fund and daggone inheritance. While I've been broke, and everybody wanted to make sure I stayed that way. Now it's like where everybody's doing the making it rain thing while they making my stuff look like the Sahara Desert. Now when it's like with me, like, no, I'm this ain't gonna keep happening. I need to have my life. I deserve to be happy. You won't go back. This is something that was designed for you and mine. And God put you in a certain situation. Universe placed you in a certain situation where you gonna call back. Anything that was taken from you will come back to you tenfold. Plus interest. Whatever you have gone through, it held purpose to what you have gone through. These are the different things you had to go through to get to. So whatever you've gone through, there may be different times where you don't even understand it. It's okay to not understand every step you're taking, but just give yourself the credit that you ain't standing still. You're not a plant. You ain't cement. Well, let me not play a stand. Yes, we are a plant, because you be that seed that's gonna grow, and that's what you're doing. You had to go through that dirt. You had to be planted, and when you got planted, that was when all you were going through all that chaos. All those obstacles, those upheavals, those setbacks, those betrayals. Deception. Things was just gutter for you. You really had to go like, how the hell am I make this? And you trying to understand where the hell God was through this whole thing. And he was right by your side, orchestrating this whole thing for you to happen. And it'll be making you want to give his ass the side face or kick to the teeth. But then it'll be just understanding this made you an OG. I built you different. So me building you different, I'm gonna break you different. You have to be able to understand that, like, why is other people's hardship not as hard as yours? Or why people can't understand the things that I'm going through, or why people think that I'm not broken enough, or I haven't suffered enough. Because it's like with me, people be mad because they wanted me to be down and out. It make me feel like I was missing out. I don't want to be in no kind of group setting where I have to understand what the hell you're doing in my life, why you're here, what your motive is, what your intention. I'd rather be by myself. It's lonely at the top. Now I see what folks say when they sit up here and tell you it's very lonely at the top, because when you start doing things based on your peace, your happiness, your oneness, what you want to bring to your life to manifest, and it don't involve other people. Some people take offense to that, and it's just like, did you bring the work in, other than working on my damn nerves, or try to work to make sure I didn't get to where I get, or you trying to work to make sure I don't understand who I am to the fullness, because that makes you feel differently about yourself. You're not that person where you when you got people that want you to downplay your life, or water yourself down because you're too intense, you're too extra. No, they're just being basic. There's some people that just don't want to learn. They do go through the repeated cycle because that's where their comfortability is. You're not meant for that. You're not meant for that hamster wheel. And if you're meant for that, when you're on that hamster wheel, it starts getting really crazy because when you like too comfortable and like, I don't want to deal with that, I don't want to face that. And a lot of that, I understand that. I understand that it's hard to deal with that. You're dealing with crazy emotions. You don't know what you're dealing with. All of a sudden, you start getting emotional. You don't know where the cry is coming from. All of a sudden, you start getting annoyed, going through things like, bump that. I ain't playing that mess no more. I've been playing all too long. I've been playing backseat to my life too long. I've been allowing people getting affecting me that talk, that don't even do nothing to apply to my life except mirror to me that they want to, people see your potential. People truly see your potential, and that's the reason why they act you like that. They try to always want to do something one step ahead of you. When you got confidence within yourself, like I was trying to say earlier, my ADD kicking up. My bad, y'all, if I change the subject on that. But when you're confident, you're gonna build other people up. You never know what somebody's backstory is. They may feel not secure about themselves. I'm like, oh, you got a nice hairdo. Did you just get your hair cut? That really brings out the brown in your eyes or the blue specks in your face. The blue specks in your face, your blue specks in your eyes. It really brings out your eyes. You have beautiful eyes. Or I love your outfit. And you don't really, I mean, even if it's not, you don't really mean it, but something's guided to be able to show that, like, not saying you won't mean it, but like you're not really trying to pay attention to somebody like that, but something's guiding you to tell that person that. And you don't realize that one little comment that you have gave to somebody can just mess up their whole day in a good day. For the rest of the day, just because they had like a little downfall where somebody wanted to check them or something like that. They may look young, but somebody look, got a little insecurity about them. I had somebody tell me that look older than me and gonna try to call me auntie. I said, hold up, did you just call me auntie? But I was just like, what, she probably tried to do that as a little dig, but I'm gonna use that. I said, what, look at it like this. You're very wise. You're very wise for your age, even though this woman looked like she in her 50s, late 50s. And I said, I just turned 49 on the 19th of last month. Different people like, girl, you don't even look that age, or you don't even look like you have any children over 30. I did. I got them out of the way early. It was just like one of those different things. But yeah, and then you have somebody who is not in their confidence, like, oh yeah, I'm confident, but yet they always, want to pick out a flaw, or they want to downgrade, what you're doing, or downplay, the different achievements you're placing in your life, different stuff like that. That's how you know somebody is triggered by your confidence, and it'll be something natural. There are some people that gotta really force themselves to get attention out there just to be noticed, and you do it just naturally. And you sometimes you don't realize just for you naturally being that way, it intimidates people that are not that way. So I hope you were able to resonate with something in the video that was I presented out. Like I said, I haven't been making videos, and someone just called me. I'm like, I've been looking at a lot of videos. They've really been speaking on different things. So I'm like, damn, I missed that. So that's how I decided to go ahead and put a video out. So I hope you were able to resonate. So yeah, I may put another video out. You never know, but see when you see me. Much love to you. Namaste. God bless. Keep going. Never give up on your dreams. Even when it feels like things are not changing for you, never know what's going on behind the scenes for you. Just keep pushing, keep going. Think positive even when it's not. Even when it's hard to just think about the different things that you had in your life that you were really struggling with at a time, and now you are finally at peace with it. You have let go of those situation, or you laid to rest, or actually turned out good for you. Just know these are processes that goes towards you, towards different things that are coming up to your life that you may be going through some hardship that's going to guide you towards something you never imagined. So you never know the reason why you're really going through stuff, and it's really hard. And I mean, really hard. Like if somebody you tell somebody, be like, what the, be one of those different things. Just know there's something really beautiful in store for you as you are. So much love to you. Peace.